Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back once again to Gran Turismo 7. We're continuing on with our Group 1 car reviews in which we hope to test, review and then finally fully rank the entirety of the Group 1 class of cars within this game. And we're moving on to another modern Le Mans machine, this time the Audi R18 TDI from 2011. Now you will see this car appear once again in a bit of a different form, but it does continue the Audi R18 name to the car. So first of all, let's start off with the price point of this vehicle. A little bit more expensive than the typical 1 million credit purchase price. This one's coming in at 3 million credits. As you can see, in terms of its overall PP rating, it's 859.40, 532 brake horsepower, 900 kilograms and turbocharged. A little bit more on the expensive side. However, this is a car that's very much grown on me over time. Now let's move on to the lap itself, the history of the car and reviewing it within GT7. So let's start off with some history about the car that you're seeing here. So the Audi R18 nameplate continued on all the way until Audi left Le Mans Racing in 2016, which was their final season, sort of entering the prototype world of motorsport. So it was a namesake that was carried on for a very long time, starting here in 2011 with the version that you're seeing here, which is the TDI. It also went on to be known as it kind of evolved over time as the Ultra and the e-tron Quattro. Now, in terms of this vehicle itself, this is the number 2 liveried one that did go on to win Le Mans, or the 24-hour of Le Mans of that year. So in 2011, the number 2 won, as the number 1 and the number 3 both were involved in collisions during the race. Now, it was a very close race overall. This car won by only 13 seconds after 24 hours after a final push in the final hour of Le Mans itself. In terms of qualifying though, it was a very respectable 1-2 for both the cars. Obviously the Team Jost sort of, I guess, team name that comes along with this car did line up 1-2 for this race. So overall, not much of a slouch at all. It was a car that didn't really do too much really through the 2011 season. It was very much built upon over the following years, so there wasn't too much to talk about in terms of the actual season this car raced, apart from obviously that very famous Le Mans victory, which gave Audi 11 wins in 13 races for Le Mans, which is just absolutely insane. In terms of the sort of styling and design of this car, a little bit different in terms of the regulation changes. So things like fins appeared, and in terms of the closed cockpit, this was the first time Audi had ran a closed cockpit since 1999. In terms of its race debut overall, it appeared at the 1000 kilometers of Spa of the 2011 season. And well, the rest is history. Obviously, this one cemented itself as a Le Mans victor, and well, that's all you really need to know. This thing was successful. It set out to do what it wanted to do and did end up winning Le Mans, with obviously only one surviving car remaining and winning by just 13 seconds. However, like I said, the R18 nameplate will be showing up a little later on down the line when it comes to reviewing the 2016 version of this vehicle, the final year that it did ever enter Le Mans and the final time we've ever seen Audi properly at Le Mans in terms of prototype machinery. At that point, it was all change, and well, that would be the end of that. So with the history out of the way, let's talk about the car in terms of Gran Turismo 7 itself. And I feel like this and both the Peugeot kind of have the honour of sitting in this weird midpoint of the Group 1 category. You know, you've got the hybrid monsters of the 2016 season, which again get used much more than the likes of this one. You've also then got the VGT cars, which can't really compare to either this TDI or the Peugeot itself. And then obviously you've got the Group C monsters, which are just straight line rockets. I feel like because of this, the kind of early 2010 vehicles that we see in the Peugeot and this version of the Audi R18 very much get overlooked and not really spoken about. However, I feel like this car has become, especially over time, a bit of a modern day Gran Turismo legend. It's one that if you picked up GT Sport, you would have received the likes of, you know, postcards with a special edition and such. And then again, it kind of gets carried over to this game, as well as obviously the likes of Gran Turismo 6. graphics. I feel like since this car appeared on the actual circuit way back when, it's kind of cemented itself, especially in terms of Gran Turismo, as a bit of a modern classic, and a car that is always kind of there in the background or being used for the likes of poster images, postcards, or promotional material. It always seems to appear at least some point in a Gran Turismo game in a very big way, whether that be promotions, intros and such. So just like with, Gran Turismo 1, 2 and 3 with the Tom's Castrol Supra, I feel like the TDI R18 has kind of took over that mantle as being a bit of a, poster child for Gran Turismo. It always seems to be very heavily featured, even if the overall player base doesn't talk about it too much. However, there is a reason for that. It does sit in that weird spot, like I said, where it doesn't quite have the performance of the more modern counterparts and doesn't really have the straight line speed of the Group C monsters that we see in this category. Overall in Group 1, it doesn't really stand out as doing anything too special. However, if you get a good tune for this, or you just want a car that's very easy to drive, then you can't really go wrong with the TDI. It's just one of those cars that kind of gets its bonus points from being so simple to set up and so easy to drive. Even in its standard form here, you can absolutely breeze the laps just with ease of driving. The grip, the downforce, it is always there, even if it doesn't necessarily have that overall top speed of cars around it. Obviously it lacks the hybrid boost, but then does gain a little bit in terms of its overall top speed on the hybrid machines. And then obviously when it comes to the Group C monsters, it doesn't necessarily have that ridiculous massive turbo rocket ship like feel when it comes to the straight lines. So again, sits in a weird spot, but definitely a very beginner friendly car, even if the 3 million price tag doesn't necessarily convince you of that. But overall, this is a very good car, and I think in terms of its looks, it's absolutely stunning. So in terms of the lap time, this one sits in a very respectable overall 10th position. It came in with a time of a 5 minutes 54.049, just slightly off the Sauber Mercedes. Again, that is mainly due to that ridiculous top speed on both the Sauber and the Nissan. However, it does beat cars like the McLaren Ultimate VGT, Jaguar XJR9 and the 962, especially absolutely smashing the TS030 hybrid from 2012, which has a massive PP advantage over this one, over 10 seconds difference. So again, very much because of the ease of driving, this car stands out as a very good vehicle and very beginner friendly. So in terms of the Audi R18 TDI, would I recommend it? Absolutely. I think just for the looks alone, this car absolutely stands out from a bunch of the other Group 1 machines. Very easy driving also gives it an advantage, and it really isn't no slouch. Massive thank you to all of my channel members: Lewis Vieira, Old School Gamers, Crazy Cobra, JRO49, Cole Wyatt, Phil Wilmot, Dominic Saylor, Dan, Sean and Chris 75572. Thank you for your continued support, and thank you to you guys who watched this video and joined me on this journey as we venture through the entirety of the Group 1 category. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.